Hello. From the Glossary of Empowerment. Concentration. One of the three primary paths leading to the higher states of absorption and embodiment. Concentration is the left-hand path, represented by the ancient science of yoga. It utilizes focused effort and willpower to bring about a series of transformations that gradually raise the frequency of your awareness. So, this is one of those terms that is part of a trinity of terms: concentration, meditation, and contemplation. And, to understand each of these terms is to understand all of these terms. So you need to understand them all together, really. But let's start with concentration. Concentration, one of the three primary paths leading to the higher states of absorption and embodiment. Absorption is the higher state. It'll be another term in the glossary, at which the light inside us starts to catalyze an automatic awakening. So it's a very higher state of being. Concentration is one of the ways in which you can bring that about. And concentration relates to the science of yoga, focused effort and willpower to bring about a series of transformations that gradually raise the frequency of your awareness. So yoga and this path of concentration is a gradual path. And gradual is wonderful. There are gradual paths like yoga towards absorption and embodiment, or what we call enlightenment. And there are sudden paths, like Zen is a sudden path. It's a quick path. It looks for the quickest way. And fast or slow doesn't make any difference to the cosmos. We all get there when we get there. And we just have to find the style that suits us best. So on the other side, I call this a left-hand path, and some people have said, "Oh no, the left-hand path is something else." And left, right, I don't care about which side of the car the steering wheel's on. It relates really to the left-hand brain, the left-hand brain, the left brain, because it is that path of sustained willpower, the logical linear path. It's of progression, very powerful to concentrate. And we need, if we're on the path of contemplation, which is the central one, we require a balance of the two, of meditation, which is no effort, and concentration, which is effort. And this is the one I recommend. I mean, we see examples in other traditions of people who are following only one of these paths, an extreme in a way. So you see people who are only following the path of yoga, of concentration, and it is definitely a path for some people. It requires an incredible sustained practice. Not that many people have that level of willpower or are ready and can drop so many things in their life to just follow that path of the ascetic or the sadhu or the deep renunciate. It's an incredible path, but it's not for everyone. It's not for most of us. And then the other side is the tantric path, which I'll talk to another time. But the path of concentration, in contemplation, we use both sides. We take the middle way. And so we need a dose of concentration. We need to be focused. Our mind has to learn to be unwavering. Our heart has to learn to be unwaveringly loving and forgiving. We have to have this inner discipline, this core, so that our practice, we have something to hang it on, that we return to it. And this is, so the Gene Keys provides you a field of concentration, because you keep returning to it, and you can keep returning to the Gene Keys, you can keep returning to your profile, you can keep moving into the transmission and the synthesis and going deeper and deeper and deeper. And all of that is concentration. You're focusing your effort in one area, in one field, on one transmission. And that's, over years, that's what delivers results. That's what has the power. So concentration is awesome, and it's essential. It's essential, unless you are the other extreme, which is the tantric, which is another path. And you can listen to that glossary term. So concentration, really essential to have this ingredient in contemplation. But again, it's a balance. Too little, and we become, our practice, our sadhana, our spiritual journey becomes too flaccid. We move from one flower to the next, to the next, to the next. We move from one teacher, one teaching, to another, to another, to another, and it's just too floppy and too flaccid, and so no real growth and change is possible, because we're digging too many wells, in too many places, and we're not going down deep enough in one place. So stay in one place, at least for a while, at least for some years. Get to know it, get to know the teaching, get to know the teacher, get to know the community, the Sangha. Really dig in. If Gene Keys is a path that you're attracted to, I dig in. We're here for years. I'm here for years. This is my life. This could be yours. If it's your way. If you're new, then just come in and look around and taste it and see if it feels like it fits for you. And if it does, stick with it. Don't just let it be another thing that you pick up and show off to your friends and then move on to the next. Dig that well deep, and that's concentration. And on the other side, be careful of it becoming too extreme. We need the balance. If your concentration becomes too tight, then there's a danger that string will snap, and it will propel you away somewhere, or you'll burn out. So you need the balance of meditation on the other side. The softer approach, the gentle approach. You need the discipline, but you also need the play. And that's what contemplation is. That's what the Gene Keys are all about. Both that perfect balance of play and discipline, self-discipline. And contemplation teaches that. So, hope you imbibe that truth.